Welcome to the Thought Leadership CEOs, VDMA CEOs Thought Leadership Series. And today we are fortunate to have Mr. Satyakam Arya with us today. Mr. Arya is the Managing Director and CEO of Daimler India Commercial Vehicle Private Limited. He holds a Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Studies from DCRUST, Haryana, and an MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. With more than 20 years of experience across the automotive value chain and sector, he took over the helm of Daimler India Commercial Vehicles in November 2018 to lead Daimler's activities in the strategic Indian growth market to the next level. So, Mr. Arya, thank you so much for joining us today for the VDMA CEO's Thought Leadership Series. Mr. Arya, now the COVID has had a deep impact. Nobody would have imagined 3 months back that we would face such unprecedented situation. And in fact, people call it also the black swan of 2020. The global recession, we are talking about a global recession from anywhere between 5 to 6%, and dip in the India's GDP story also to around 4 to 5%. Mr. Arya, what has been the impact of COVID-19 on Daimler Commercial Vehicles in India as well as globally? If you could just briefly give us an update here.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Nath, for the introduction and also for inviting me to share my perspective on what the current situation is. Well, you are right. COVID has hit everyone hard, and we are also not insulated from that impact, of course. The first impact of COVID, as we all know, was the lockdowns, starting from China, then going to Europe, US, Brazil, Mexico, and then India. And as the spread of infection was controlled by lockdowns, the unlocking also started in a similar sequence, led by China, followed by Europe, US, then Brazil and India, and finally Mexico. Well, we restarted our operations from beginning of May, and we slowly started to ramp it up step by step. In fact, we cautiously took a call to ramp up slower than even the government allowed us to do so, because we just wanted to make sure that we keep ourselves safe, as well as the people have to learn to work in new ways, right? Maintaining the social distancing on the shop floor and in the offices. So we started ramp up in the beginning of May. And then we gradually ramped up to 75% of capacity. And then, as you may know, that Chennai had another lockdown from 19th of June, which just finished on this Sunday.
Okay.
So we started to ramp up now again from Monday, and we will continue in a slow and gradual manner. Now, you are asked about the impact of COVID. I think that's in three main dimensions. First one, the lockdowns led to disappearance of revenue for almost all companies, for example, in April. Right? The second dimension is that the entire value chains had to be abruptly shut down,
right,
and now have to be restarted, but not in the way they used to operate earlier, which means now with the social distancing guidelines. And third, of course, this has impacted the demand severely. And during the lockdown, we were almost in a state of paralysis. And now we see a very subdued economic activity as we unlock, right? So these are the three main dimensions which I guess all the companies, including us, are dealing with. Well, the situation is unprecedented, and everyone is dealing on many fronts to come out of this situation. It's challenging on one side, but I think it's also a chance that every company has to reinvent its business and frankly emerge from it stronger than when we entered it. Right.
right.
Our ramp up has been very promising, both on domestic and export side. In fact, as I speak to you today, we have cleared all pending orders for exports which were created during the period of lockdown. Our acceptance of BS6 products has been very encouraging from the market, and we are now steadily ramping up and trying to bring normalcy in our operations while maintaining these social distancing guidelines. The only question which remains open is on the demand side now, because this depends a lot on how this pandemic plays out and how the economic recovery would be. So that's how I would summarize the impact on DICV and globally.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Arya. Mr. Arya, the Indian automotive industry is actually quite dependent on China. We have substantial imports coming from our total 17 billion US dollar imports. They say almost 26 to 28% comes from China. Now, due to COVID, I think, Mr. Arya, we have seen that the supply chain has got badly impacted. What steps are you taking? And I would also request you to, for your advice or guidance, for what would you suggest to the Indian companies? How can one mitigate this supply chain risks, Mr. Arya?
Well, you're right. China plays quite an important role in the automotive supply chain and also for India. In fact, as per the data published by ECMA, China 26% share of total imports in the Indian automotive supply chain, and this is the highest, followed by South Korea, Germany, Japan, and US. And this definitely then led to disruptions which we saw in the beginning of this year when China was severely hit by this pandemic. Now, situation with us, frankly, is quite different. Localization was a key pillar in our India strategy when we started our operations. We have more than 90% localization in all the BharatBenz products which we produce.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Right? Now, of course, what is happening due to COVID is that it will become very difficult to manage overseas and complex supply chains. An automotive industry typically has very long and well-designed supply chains built over years of hard work. Right? What we are doing to secure ourselves going forward is we've decided to localize even beyond this 90%. And in fact strive to reach 95% or more on the localization level. Second, to make that happen, we are in very aggressive discussions with all our supplier partners to bring new technologies which we were missing in India, right? So that we can localize and buy these components locally. Another important aspect of the supply chain reboot or stabilization would be how do our supplier partners ramp up?
Right.
So what we have also done is taking learnings from us. We have prepared a manual which we are helping our suppliers with, that they can also ramp up, maintaining social distancing guidelines and ensuring safety of their employees. That's another support which we are bringing to the entire supply chain. Well, you know, a supply chain, that's why it's called chain. If one link is broken, the entire chain doesn't. Right? In automotive industry, typically, if one supplier is not able to supply you parts, you can't produce the entire vehicle, and the entire supply chain is thus affected. Right? So we have helped them to restart and are now helping them to stabilize their operations. We also are helping them to navigate through this crisis. You know, like we are talking today, we've created a platform called Partner Connect, and we bring our suppliers and also bring industry experts to share their views with them, to share with them how this pandemic could play out and how the economic recovery could be. You know, many small companies may not have access to such information, and we felt that it's our responsibility to act as a bridge and provide that information. And another important dimension is, you know, when we came to India, we also said we will use this facility to export vehicles, aggregates, and also components. And what we are doing is we are continuing aggressively with sourcing out of India. We have so far exported 125 million parts from India to other plants of Daimler. And we decided to continue with that onslaught. And how this helps Indian suppliers is that they get an additional chance for doing business since there is a slowdown in Indian market.
Absolutely.
Right? So the kind of things or initiatives which we are doing with our supplier partners to make sure that on one hand, they become more and more sustainable and can go through this crisis. And second, we can secure our supply chain.
Right, right. I think this is a very commendable step, Mr. Arya. And if I were to summarize what you have said, I think the way is localization to mitigate the supply chain risk. And as you correctly mentioned, that you are enhancing your localization from 90% to 95%. Thank you for this feedback, Mr. Arya. Mr. Arya, actually, the COVID has been a sort of a double whammy for the commercial vehicle industry. Already before COVID hit us, the commercial vehicle industry, especially, was going through a difficult phase. I think 2019-20 has not been a very good year for the commercial vehicle industry due to various factors. Uh, then came the hit from COVID. So my question is, Mr. Arya, how would the demand be created for the commercial vehicle industry? And where do you see the commercial vehicle industry in the next 2 to 3 years, Mr. Arya?
Well, Mr. Nath, it's double whammy to say the least.
Right.
In fact, we are dealing with three storms together. One is a cyclical storm, the second is a structural storm, and the
Right.
third is a transformational storm. And the third storm is applicable, in fact, to the entire automotive industry globally, right?
Right.
And as you mentioned, the slowdown last year was quite severe. In
Right.
fact, the medium and heavy commercial vehicle industry went down by 35% in
5%.
2019 as compared to 2018. Well, another unique thing which we must keep in mind when we talk about automotive industry or typically the CV industry in India with respect to COVID is that we were already undergoing a severe slowdown. And second, this COVID has coincided with the transition from BS4 to BS6.
Yes. Right.
From April, which was the worst month, hopefully, due to this pandemic, right? And when we entered this year, we thought that 2020 would be about 10% lower than 2019, mainly driven by BS6 because this is the trend which we have seen in other economies when
Right.
Euro or equivalent norms were introduced. So that's how we entered this year, and now we have COVID in front of us. So the picture has completely changed. And in fact, if we talk to the economic experts, everyone is talking about many possible recovery scenarios. And
Right.
what we believe is this will be a long road to recovery, more like a U shape or a Nike shoe
Yeah.
recovery. This is something which we have to watch as we going forward. Well, when you look at CV sector, typically its sales is or the market size is closely linked to the GDP performance. And as you also mentioned, the economic experts are now talking about Indian economy contracting by up to 4 to 5%. So
Right.
definitely volumes in 2020 will be far lower than in 2019. In fact, our estimate is that the market would be somewhere between 90 to 100,000 units, which is more than 50% lower than 2019. Right.
Okay.
Now, there is another reason why this is happening. We have seen the fleet utilization levels. They went down to almost 5% during the lockdown,
Yes.
and now have started to slowly pick up. And they are in the range of 40 to 50% right now. We expect that once the economic recovery is almost there, even then the fleet utilizations would be in the range of 55 to 60%,
Right.
which you can imagine is quite low. So there will be very less demand from the fleet owners who have unutilized fleets standing. What we also expect that from 2021 there will be a sharp rebound in the Indian market, and this could be up to 30 to 40% from a low level of 2020. And if you ask about next 2 to 3 years, our projection is that by 2022-23, the market would return back to the level which we saw in 2019, which means from a very low level of 2020, we will see sharp rebound in the next 2 to 3 years time, and then the market comes back to the normal level. And if you ask me, why am I so bullish about this recovery? Well, I believe very strongly that India will emerge from this crisis better and sooner than other countries. And this will be mainly led by domestic demand.
Right.
Second, the rural or the semi-urban areas will be the engines of growth, with some other driving factors like the spending in infrastructure which the government is doing, or the construction and the reforms in the mining sector which were recently announced. So these are the things which would trigger this demand. And there is another aspect which is coming out of COVID. We've seen already that more and more people are shifting to online buying,
Right.
when it comes to discretionary spend. And that means there will be more demand, at least on that segment in the medium and heavy commercial side. When you look at buses, the picture is a little bit different. We saw that market was almost stable in 2019. It did not have that sharp drop like in the trucks. But this year we expect that it will fall down by 40 to 50%, mainly driven by lockdowns, right? The schools are still closed. The public transport is still minimal. And the corporates are also choosing to work from home the maximum they can, right? But once the unlocking starts and normalcy returns, since social distancing will still have to be maintained, we expect that there will be a better demand coming from the school sector and even from corporate sector. So there will be a pickup of demand. I don't expect government to step in, at least in short term, to buy more buses for state transport undertakings, because I think they have other priorities right now than buying buses. So all in all, 2020 will be a very slow year, but we expect a sharp rebound in 2021. Now, there's one thing which could change this picture also, and for the better, and that will be if the scrappage policy is announced by the government. And if it is announced and is well designed to trigger demand, then we could definitely see better figures as compared to what I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. So that means there are still few optimistic factors that can help and support the commercial vehicle industry, Mr. Arya. Thank you for pointing these out. Mr. Arya, the government had announced this 20 lakh crore stimulus package. Now, this package was to help the MSME sector. The automotive sector, which contributes substantially to our GDP, and also for the employment generation, it is a big factor. Now, unfortunately for the automotive industry, there was nothing substantial directly in this package. What is your take, Mr. Arya? How would this package, would it have some indirect influence, or was the expectation from the commercial vehicle industry also that the stimulus package would help and support them?
Well, if you look at the entire stimulus package, and I think it's a composite package.
That's right.
Great package with direct cash transfers. There is no direct benefit to the automotive industry, but there's a lot of indirect benefits which will come, and I will just detail some of them out. Well, frankly, there is a perceived inadequacy of government to support the economy right now, among the public. And I think this is driven by the fact that government has to maintain a fiscal deficit. And secondly, there was no direct cash transfer announced, which people were expecting. So there is a perceived inadequacy. It may not be so, but at least that's how it is perceived. Right? But I think the government realizes that when it comes to this pandemic and the economic situation arising out of that, we are on a prolonged road. So I guess they will also move step by step, depending on how the situation unfolds. Now, let us briefly look at this whole package, and I think this is into three main parts. The first one is the survival package for the most needy section of the society, right? That they can go through this period. And there are things like increased allocation in Manrega scheme. Right. The second, as you pointed out, is liquidity support to the MSME sector, the construction and the real estate. And also the NBFCs, which I think is also needed for their survival. At the same time, to maintain liquidity for other businesses to function, like us. Right? We also saw a moratorium being announced for the loans, again, to tide through the most difficult quarter. The third part of this package is the reforms which the government has announced on the mining side and in the agriculture sector. And I think government took the chance of this pandemic uh, to push out the much awaited reforms which these sectors were needing. Right?
That's
Now,
what they say, Mr. Arya, never let a good opportunity crisis go to waste. Yeah.
Never let a crisis go waste. And I think the government has done it, and they have recently shown that they are quite fast in implementing these reforms, right? For example, in mining. Now, how will that help the automotive industry or the CV industry in particular? Well, as I mentioned to earlier, if the spending in construction or infrastructure continues, we will definitely see uptick in demand from that segment. The rural geographies would definitely do better. We already see in the tractor sales, and I think when you allow the movement of agricultural goods across India, this also leads to increased demand for transportation and hence higher demand for trucks. All in all, if you add all that, I think it's a mixed bag. Some sectors would definitely do better, and some sectors will have to wait till the time the entire economic activity reboots and GDP starts to grow again.
Right. And also, Mr. Arya, I think especially the mining sector, what you mentioned, now it shows also the government's thrust on mining the coal production, because I think that is one of the strong pillars of our power generation. We are still heavily dependent on coal for power generation. Almost 56 to 60% of our power generation comes from coal. And this would certainly benefit the, I think, the commercial vehicle industry also. I think with the, especially the heavy trucks would benefit from the thrust or spending in the mining sector.
Definitely. In fact, India has enough reserves of coal, so we need not even import, but we have been doing so over years. So reforms are a great welcome step because one is we'll become self-reliant. Second, it to contain the foreign exchange outflow. And third, of course, as you mentioned, it will definitely lead to a better demand for construction mining trucks. And we already see first signs of revival in that segment.
Right, right. Mr. Arya, with the COVID, the bottom line of the companies have certainly been hit. And the mantra today is how to conserve cash. I think that is what most of the CEOs are trying to do at the moment. Would that in any way, Mr. Arya, impact the spending on R&D? Would you see that due to this situation, is it possible that you would perhaps postpone certain spendings, what was envisaged for the R&D activities?
Well, as it happens in every crisis, and especially a crisis of this nature, conserving cash becomes paramount importance. In fact, my CFO says, it's quite popular to say in India, cash is king. And he started to now say that cash is divine.
Right.
And I think the crisis always gives us a chance to review what we had already planned, to postpone or cancel what we can afford to, and to continue spending on what we need to. I think that's a very important thing to keep in mind, because if you don't do so, you actually emerge weaker from the crisis. Right. So what we did is also a similar exercise. We went through all what we had planned and did a kind of replanning of sorts. Now, it's also very important that we should right now start working on what would permanently change with this COVID crisis and start investing on that right away, and not when the crisis ends, because then it will be too late. Right? So these are the things which you have to really take care when you redesign. How do you invest ahead? Well, we consciously decided to continue with our investments since we believe that the business has to be always led with a long view. And I don't know whether you already read about it. We recently signed a second MOU with Government of Tamil Nadu. Right. Invest 2,277 crores in India. Right. And quite a big portion of that goes in R&D.
Okay.
And when it comes to R&D or products, we've always believed that we should focus on customer and how can we provide a compelling value equation to our customer. When you look at a commercial vehicle, typically 10%, only 10% is the acquisition cost of the product. The balance 90% is the cost on the life cycle of the product.
Right.
And it has been always our endeavor to provide the lowest total cost of ownership to our customers. We produce value for money products, and these are highly appreciated by our customers. So keeping that in mind, we will continue to invest in R&D that we can bring down this total cost of ownership as much as possible. In fact, we just talked about BS6 transition.
Right.
This is what we exactly did with BS6. Right? If you look at our BS6 trucks, for example, in e-commerce segment, where you extensively use a truck, right? Because you need to have shorter turnaround times and committed delivery timelines. Our fuel efficiency is up to 10% better than a BS4 Bharat Benz.
Right.
Right? Normally, when we change emission or upgrade emissions, the maintenance cost goes up.
Right.
But not Bharat Benz. Our BS6 Bharat Benz has 6% lower maintenance cost than a BS4. Right?
Okay.
And since we have more than 8 to 9 years of experience on BS6 or Euro 6 technology, we had absolute confidence in offering up to 8 years of extended warranty and up to 10 years of annual maintenance contract. This is the first time in Indian market someone is providing that. And I think the customers know that we have extensive experience with this technology. We have roughly 14 lakhs trucks and buses running around the world on the roads with this technology. So I think this has helped us to get a very encouraging pull from the market for our BS6 products. And looking at all that, our investments in R&D will continue. We will continue to expand our product portfolio and bring new technologies apart from digitalization that we can always better the value equation to our customers.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Arya. I think that is very important. The confidence that you have with the BS6 and the experience that Daimler Commercial Vehicles has with the BS6 technology. Mr. Arya, my final question is: we are all facing the same storm, but in different boats. And I think it's a challenging time for the CEOs to sail their boats in the stormy waters of COVID. So, Mr. Arya, I would like to ask you, what are the 2 or 3 tips you would like to give to the CEOs of German companies in this period of crisis? What is the best one can do?
Well, you're right. Leadership, of course, plays an even more important role during a crisis, and especially a crisis of this dimensions. Right. I had earlier talked about 3 storms together, right? And it's the job of a leader to sail the boat or steer the ship during the troubled times. And frankly, the expectations are huge from all leaders. And even though the current situation will be overwhelming, I think it's very important that the leader stays in the front and leads the pack. Now, there are a lot of things which a leadership should do or focus on during this situation. But if you ask me to pick 2 of them,
right.
The first one would be that a leader should always remain guided by values and purpose. Right. It's a health crisis, and ensuring safety and health of our employees and stakeholders should be the number 1 priority of a leader. Right. And, while dealing with this crisis, even till now and in future, we will all face a lot of situations of paradox. And that is the time to anchor your decision based on your values. And of course, when you address your teams or talk to your people, it's also important to remind everyone what our purpose is. Right. It's very important to get guided by that during this time. Right. The second thing would be that to anticipate or reimagine the structural shifts which are coming out of this crisis while you deal with the daily problems, right? Because the amount of problems you deal with on a daily basis is quite high. Right. But you can't lose sight of what's emerging out of this crisis, and you have to start working on that right now, that you emerge stronger from the crisis and not weaker. Now, it's a very important thing to do, and one way to do is to address it to your team and also separate the teams that they work with different clock speeds, that each of these dimensions can be attended to. In fact, taking advantage of this crisis, we are currently experimenting inside the company, and we have installed a new steering model. Typically a company functions by steering various departments,
Right.
or R&D operations, different functions. We have completely changed this to a time-based steering model. What are the burning topics? And then all functions come together and attend to that. What are the topics for securing the financial performance or results of 1 year time frame, which is 2020? And then there is a separate team which is working on preparing us for 2 to 3 years or post-COVID.
Okay. Right.
So it's a completely new concept which we are experimenting with, and I'm quite confident that this is something which will help us to sail through this crisis and to emerge even stronger from it. So these are the two things I would recommend to every leader, if they can also follow that and navigate through this crisis.
Right. Mr. Arya, thank you so much for sharing your views, sharing your thoughts, and spending time with us, Mr. Arya. These are difficult times, no doubt, but I think the times where you said one, as you correctly said, these offer certain opportunities also. And I think companies who are able to foresee and grasp these opportunities and come out stronger out of these crises, I think these will be the companies that will go ahead strongly. And I think with resilience, we can overcome this crisis. So on behalf of the German Engineering Federation, Mr. Arya, wishing you all the very best as you reboot the activities. And we just recently had a webinar also on Act Now, Plan Now for the Future. I think this is what you have also summarized so well during the interview. So wishing you all the very best, Mr. Arya, for the future and for this to overcome this difficult period.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nath. I think it's very important that we all stay positive during this crisis,
Right.
because what will carry us through. And wish you also good luck.
Thank
and
you.
to all my viewers, all our viewers here, I wish them good health in the next months in this crisis. Thank you very much.
And I think it's important we all stay optimistic also, Mr. Arya. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Arya. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good day.
Yeah.